energy. Thank you all of you for being here. Thank you for all the leaders in the chat. And like Adam Gugino, you know something? You know something, Adam Gugino? Adam Gugino's freaking fun. He's fun. He's ridiculous. He's radical. He takes energy. He amplifies in the most beautiful, loving like way all the time. Adam Gugino's fun. And like I would say his fun right now is at like a 4. Because I know that Adam Gugino is like 10 times more fun. So Mr. G, how are you feeling? What's present for you here on Fun Friday?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to having a lot of fun this weekend. I'm probably at a 4. I don't know if you remember, I think you do, but there's apparently an intervention with me today. So, you know, I'm working in the fun now, but yeah, I am super, super excited for go from a 4 to a 9.9 this weekend for sure.
Right on, man. And brother, I mean that with all the love in the world. You are the most fun, 100%, and always jabbing, always poking. So
I have to say, Fernando, I have to say that you've been very vulnerable and open around your fun. And as of the last several weeks, I mean, I have seen it shine through. You have just really went from probably you were somewhere around a 4 or 5. And I think you're up in the 9s right now, brother, on a regular basis. So I need to honor you for that. And I need to model what you've been up to.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Truly. And it means a lot. And we've all been having fun. You know, Adam Gugino is the guy that calls me or we call each other in the middle of the day for 72 seconds. And it's like, this, this. And it's like, go. So it's, you know, beautiful fun, beautiful energy, beautiful momentum. And for you, like, where's your fun and magic? Like, where's your fun and magic? Let's like not even rate it. If like you want to have fun and magic, if you're having fun and magic, if you're going to have fun and magic this weekend, let's drop a yes in the chat. Like, let's drop a Y, a yes. Let's like step into fun energy. If you're in the fun energy, and listen, for everyone, if you're like, what's going on here? Is it always like this? Is it always about fun? The answer is yeah. You know, fun is one of the energies. So the answer is yes. And you know, we go through a lot of different things. We're stepping into the formula. So thank you all, you know, for being here. Thank you for everyone that's new, stepping in for the first time. And like, who's having like fun? I see like a yes in the chat. I see like yes with exclamation points. I see like yes in capital. I see yes, baby. I see like yas. I think that was Vivian. I hope I went that. We have Mr. Sipple with like bunch of emojis. Eric is dropping hearts. People are excited for LBI. There's like a lot going on. I got a BAM in the chat. So Adam, brother Gugino, like things are fun. Things are fun. And I'm looking forward for like your energy and your vulnerability. And we have Karen G here with us today as well. So we're going to be having like a multitude of conversations, you know, truly. We really are. So Mr. Gugino, like share with me this, or actually, you know, as I channel like inner Sean Callaghy, inner formula, because that's what begins to happen when we like have a language and a format, you know, we're able to channel distinctions. And when I was stepping into my fun, because, you know, Sean and Adam like call me like RoboCop, not really Adam, but RoboCop. Like RoboCop is the seriousness. And when I remember asking Sean, like, hey, how can I step into more fun? Like, how can I be more fun? Because I know I'm fun. And he goes, just laugh. Whenever you hear something that's ridiculous, silly, funny, anything, just laugh. Just begin to laugh. And listen, straight up, that's what I did. I started just giggling over like the craziest things. I started laughing at you with your sweatbands. You know, that thing cracked. You have it on. Of course you do. And that was stepping into fun energy. So Mr. Callaghy, we have Adam here speaking about vulnerability. We're talking about fun. We have Karen G. You know, he's a guest here today on the Huddle. And we got you like revved up 5 wide. So like, what is happening, sir?
Just fired up and ready to go. Having fun on this Fun Friday down in Long Beach Island. Excited for all of those that will be arriving today and coming on down. And really, really fired up about that. And fired up that you're here today and that we're connecting and that it's Fun Friday. And so grateful for people being here. And yeah, if this is your first time, this is about unlocking your money, time, and magic. at a whole new level. And we talked about a couple of days ago, leaning in on some of Adam Gugino's fear, because the fundamental theme of this week is how our fear of rejection stops our zone action, right? Stops our zone action, and how it leads us to not leaning in during agreement formation, which of course is what we talk about, because we don't hook, we don't pitch, we don't close. And I'm even like, let's even start to think about reframing prospects and leads. These are human beings. These are people that we're all dealing with. They're humans, like they're people, right? And it's like, well, no, I'm a B2B person. Okay, that B2B is owned by a human being. Why I just work with giant corporations? Okay, there's human shareholders, right? There's a person in HR that makes the decision. There's a CEO of the company. If you have a giant, structure, there's a person somewhere in there, right? And especially with most of us work with businesses that are small to mid-size. And if we're working with small to mid-size companies, these are people that are, most of them are self-employed at some level, or really, if they have 30 people that work for them, 50 people, 20 people, 100 people, these are folks that are making their income very directly related to everything that's happening. So they're people. So Adam Gugino, how are you today, sir? And thanks for Karen for being here as well. So what's happened with you, Adam?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm excited to be here and to be vulnerable. I also, though, want to butter you up real quick before we get started, for sure. And I just have to really honor you, because after last night and really the whole week, the way you've addressed certain topics that have been presented to us, we've never lived in a more polarized time. And I think, especially on these calls, there's people on one end of the spectrum, from one end all the way to the other, and everything in between. And I don't know if there's anyone in the world that has the ability to be able to speak into the listening of like each and every person across the board, everybody really having their voice heard, even some people haven't been speaking. And it's incredible. I'll make a bold proclamation. I don't know anyone that's ever done it better. I mean, we talk about the presidential candidates right now and the president. Forget that. Any president that I've ever seen, any presidential candidate I've ever seen, in my opinion, you do it better than anybody that I've ever met or interacted with. So I really need to say that before we get started with my intervention.
Brother, I mean, I'm overwhelmed, and thank you, Adam. And I certainly can improve, without a doubt, and that's what mastery is all about.
You're not perfect.
Yeah, and every day. So thank you. Every day, I'm working to get better. And I think as my level 5 listening, I've had the privilege of doing about 100 speaking engagements a month. It's a real number, 100 public speaking engagements a month for the last couple of months. And that number is continuing to rise. And so you're like, how's that possible? It's a real number, zero exaggeration. And I could break it down happily for, I might as well, because I said it. So 21 huddles a month, 21 real raws a month is 42. This month we're doing 24 real raw opens. We're at then 66. We do now 16. It's now 20 group coaching calls a month. We're at 86. We do the Tuesday and Thursday night calls. We're at 94. With those, I do 8 podcasts a month on average. That's already 102. And there's more. Like I did a call last night with somebody's team. So it's north of 100 speaking engagements a month. And that's, as when I was first studying the work of Tony Robbins, I remember him saying that the reason he became such an incredible speaker is when he joined Toastmasters. And he was, I think, the best speaker in the country in Toastmasters one year early on. And he worked so hard at it. It's incredible. And he was speaking 3 times a day. So he was speaking 3 times a day, 60 times a month. And I remember thinking, like, someday I'm going to speak more than that, like to just get better and better. And it's like, we're here now. It's 100 times a month. And it's absolutely mind-blowing for all of you what can happen when you rep. I mean, I spoke a lot in my life, but never at this rate. I remember that there was months when I spoke 25 times back when I had the original training program. And I'm like, how did Tony speak 60 times in a month? Dude, I'm speaking like 25. And to now be in the space of 100 is such a gift. And what is like become present for me and for everybody, I offer you this, like, indispensable element in smaller QVC are 10 indispensable elements: scarcity, matching, acknowledgement, level 5 transformation, relation, condition, boundaries, emotional energetic transference, reciprocity, question mastery, validation, congruence. In the 10 indispensable elements, level 5 listening being one of them. It's like speaking into like having a connection and being so present to what you believe people are feeling and thinking as you're saying things. And we're speaking to somebody one-on-one, like that's super simple at this point. Like give me 15 minutes with somebody and I can explain substantially what they're thinking, how they're feeling, how they process. It becomes much more complex in a group dynamic. And the more people you have, the more exponentially complex it becomes, because everybody is an individual and everybody does have their own thoughts, but there's certainly patterns and group patterns. And it's become a challenge, I think, at this juncture, because I do my best to have incredibly high levels of empathy. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm lightning bolt, I'm direct, I'm confront, I'm like enough, I'm boundary, like boom, and imperfectly, maybe when I go there. But there is a level at which I'm trying to speak into the listening of everybody, and it becomes more and more complex, because you realize that if a person is in this pattern of thinking or that pattern of thinking or that, those patterns of thinking, and there's a lot of the diverse branches. So you try to hit the main tree trunk, right? And then the main branches of what you'd perceive people are thinking. And I mean, so I could dial in, I don't mean just people that would be more left-leaning or right-leaning or extreme left-leaning or extreme right-leaning. I mean, like lawyers have different things that are present than accountants, and accountants have different things that are present than data. So I do fundamentally believe that we speak into the listening of people at extremely high levels. Yes, thank you for that. I'm also clear, though, that Unblinded over time is going to begin to have its own sub groupings. And that's already on the board of like, what did those subgroupings begin to look like? How do we install the leadership in those subgroupings? Should they be aligned industry, vertically, with certain causes at the root? So these things are all in the mapping. So for now, and we will always have one central huddle. Well, just never say always. I think we'll always have one central huddle. And eventually that we will have sub special interest groups. So the 8 a.m. call and mastery, perhaps that over time inside the programs begins to get not replaced, that time slot begins to become occupied by different subverticals with leaders that are directly affiliated with Unblinded emerging. And those are things we're going to talk about this weekend. We'll be announcing more about next week. But again, this is hopefully a model that doesn't exist in the world. I believe that. I'm very confident that. And we said from day one that we win Unblinded when I'm sitting in the last row of an upper deck and nobody even knows who I am. And I continue to maintain that vision and that belief. And that's why I named it Unblinded from day one. In the 20 years I contemplated this company, and certainly the 14 since I exited my first coaching company, which was called Calogie. The design of this has always been to build something that's never been built before and not built around a person, right? And so thank you for that, Adam. And for everybody who's listening, I don't as optimally speak into, help me, support, how can I speak into your listening more? What might I be blind to? And we will do our best. And we are not here without Adam and Fernando and the entire Unblinded team and the work tirelessly they do. We're not here without you. We're not here without people that are, so amazingly in support of what we're doing, have been from the very beginning, which I'm immensely grateful for. And if I start naming names, I will miss people and offend others. So for today, I will not. But it's an incredible time. And this weekend is going to be a new base camp. And we're going to come out of it with a tremendous acceleration. And so, I want to get to Karen, but I don't want to not deliver on what we talked about all week, Adam, which is you manage between 50 million and 100 million phone calls per year, right? That's like a real number. It was tens of thousands of phone calls a day going on by a 500-person team that you built from scratch, that you took from $3 million to $750 million in a company that was in Inc. 500 magazine, for 3 consecutive years. And by the way, because you've heard all that story, don't forget Adam was also with ADP and was #1 in his area and inside sales in the country for ADP before that. So this is a dude that knows how to connect with people, unblind them, and move from hello to yes at exponentially insane proportions. Fernando, would you agree with that encapsulation of Adam?
I would definitely agree with that encapsulation at velocity levels.
Yeah. So Adam, but you still have fear of rejection. I think we discovered. And so when is the last time, without naming a name, just date, that you felt rejected?
Yesterday. Again.
All right. And so what is your rule for when you feel Adam Gugino with all that background, all that success? When is the last time? And by the way, I feel it. You are, and sometimes we can confuse heart-centeredness and goddess energy and love, right? With having susceptibility for fear. And that those things, I want to like break that pattern. They're not correlated. So you could be loving, centered, goddess energy and have boundaries and make things happen. And there's a lot of examples in this movement of people like that, right? And that men and women, right? And so the ability to step into Zeus energy and be decisive with boundaries is not a male or female trait, right? It is, and nor is being heart-centered have to correlate to not being able to move into Zeus energy. And that's why there's a lightning bolt, right? That's the disruption. That's the Zeus energy. That's the certainty. Decision. Lightning bolt is decisive. It is energy. It is clear. It is happening. It is there, right? So Adam, with all your love and heart-centeredness, what is your rule about when you feel rejected? That, by the way, Adam creates for himself 100% and decides, okay, I'm going to allow myself to feel rejected when the following things happen, right? What is it that you've been functioning under for the last month, maybe years, but just the last month? As Adam exists, or actually as of today, what is the actual rule in your nervous system, not intellectually, the one that makes your being function as it does? What is it?
I'm very clear on it. When I feel that I've failed, in having somebody see what they're not seeing in my ability to provide them with a solution that could solve their pain and suffering, and that failure of them, me failing them, creates rejection. The other side, there's two parts to it, because I add this layer, which is probably equally, or I don't know how to compare the rejection feeling, but letting down as well, the team or the people that count on me to have people see what they're not seeing and have breakthroughs. So it's the two of those combined creates a feeling of rejection.
Okay. So to speed this along for the sake of the huddle, we've had some long ones this week and we're getting back on target at 15 to 20 minutes. So to speed this along, those beliefs, those rules serve you. Like every belief, every rule that you have serves you. And what we mean by rule, in case you're like, what are we talking about? It means you have a rule for when you feel happy. You have a rule for when you have feelings you want to experience, and you have rules for how you get there. You have a rule for when you get angry. If they're 1 more minute late, and if they don't call me in 1 minute, I'm gonna be so pissed. That's a rule. And you set up an if then. And our nervous system works that way. Like, oh my God, if somebody gives me a gift, if somebody gives me flowers, it means they love me. If somebody texts me, hey, looking good, it means like I look good. If I don't get that text, it means I don't. Like we can have if-then rules all the time in a million different ways. And so the point one is you have rules for every emotion you experience, for feeling lonely, for feeling sad, for feeling rejected, for feeling like you're failing. Adam used the word failure. Oof, heavy word, right? For feeling like you're winning, for feeling like you're succeeding, you have momentum. Some people, it's like, okay, yeah, I got all my work done this week. I feel really good. I posted all my social media pictures and my quotes. Not making fun, but that is a rule, but it may not be true. And that's the key. Our rules aren't necessarily true. And for most of us, they've been given to us by the conditioning around us. And we have not intentionally selected them. We have not intentionally selected them. And going all the way back to when I was in coaching school in 2003, one of the earliest exercises we did was to intentionally examine some of our belief structures, right? And when we did, that gave me an access point. And Tony Robbins does a similar thing in his book, Awaken the Giant Within. And now there's, in many different places, there's some standardization of this in coaching, but I don't see it manifesting consistently in people. And in our work here in Accelerating Money, Time, and Magic, rejection is at the core. We say there's two fears, rejection and failure, right? And I see people hesitating every day in the railroad and every conversation. Wait, what do I have to do? I'm confused. I don't know what's happening. That's called fake confusion. Fake confusion because people are afraid of being rejected. So they may have a little thing not completely clear on, like, wait, do you want me to park 2 feet from the house or 3 feet? Like they may have that confusion. But what is really happening for people when they fear rejection is they go into this like, oh, I don't understand. I don't, like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. I don't know, right? And that's typically fear of failure, fear of rejection, rocketing forward in what we call fake confusion. And that's what Unblinded on the sweatshirt, it's originally from the immersion. It says, I am not confused. I'm not confused, right? Thank you, Rob Gill, who introduced the concept. We had some fun. He grew up, and it is an access point through him that we talked about fake confusion and therefore coming up with I'm not confused. And that was something I think he and his friends said even to each other growing up, right? And for a different reason, slightly, but a related way. So we are conquering fake confusion, right? Which is, again, connected directly to overcoming rejection and failure. But what we'll bring forward this morning is the idea that you have rules that make you feel all the ways that you feel all day long, and that you can change them. The changing them we'll get back to later, right? In deeper content. We're starting to do this weekend for folks. But Adam, what I'm hallucinating is the way that those rules are serving you is you perceive that they drive your action forward. And the reason you built a 500-person team that went to $700 million and became number one in ADP is because of those rules, at least in part. Tell me you don't believe that.
It's a fact.
Yeah, okay. So this is the complex part, is that all of these beliefs in certain ways support us and other ways harm us, right? So if you feel rejected, not you feel that there's an opportunity to rise in your mastery, but you feel rejected, right? How heavy is feeling rejected, Adam Gugino? When you feel rejected, how heavy is that feeling for you and for people in general?
I could speak for myself. It's the last and worst place that I want to be.
And so, and if you're feeling rejected, any of you out there, including Adam, you have to do something to come out of your rejection, your feeling of rejection, not your rejection, your feeling of rejection, and come back and move into action. That's got to happen. You got to come out of that feeling. You got to do something physiologically, mentally to come out of it. And if our self-mastery skills aren't super high, and we're not conditioned to like, I'm going to move, I'm going to do something, get my body, right? You're going to have a long journey out of rejection. And we're in rejection, Adam Gugino, we're feeling rejected. We're feeling rejection. We're in the feeling of rejection. Are we taking massive zone action in a place that we're going to be at our maximum level of self-mastery for influence? Yes or no?
Absolutely. So one thing for sure, that as much as that feeling is created in those moments, I am completely conditioned to move on and make the next phone call, to face it head on and let it go very fast. But it just hits hard, and then I move.
Ready? So watch this. So I know that. That's why you're so productive. So what, and get this micro distinction. For most people, you're not as effective and conditioned to move through that. But even for Adam, there's a transactional, write this down. There's a transactional cost. There's a transactional cost. We are going to label the transition from rejection to act, like back into a place of action in our self-mastery, like zone action. There is a journey that costs energy and time. Now, Adam may pay a very small price for that transition, right? A very small price for that transition, but he's still paying a price. And most of you are paying a much larger price. Some of you are paying a similar price to Adam. Maybe somebody out there paying even a lower price, but I could tell you who's paying a lower price. The people who never feel rejection in the first place. They're paying no price. So what I offer to Adam this morning, each of you, is to reframe that entire belief into, hey, when somebody, I offer this, when somebody is not communicating, doesn't go from hello to yes, it's either because my level of mastery can be accelerated and my execution in this moment of the process of unblinding them to the value, like opening their listening, putting something at stake, conveying my heroic unique identity, and moving forward in agreement, was somehow suboptimally executed, and or I still have another level of mastery to achieve, and or this person, truly doesn't want or need more money, less time, more magic, and they should say no, right? Because they're completely satisfied in every way of their life and where they are, right? They're not in a place of growth and acceleration. They're just in a place of like status quo, which is a beautiful place to be if somebody decides they want to be. We're not judging anything that anybody does. So the offer is, Adam, what would it look like if there just is no rejection? Like rejection is eliminated from the landscape. How to condition that in this weekend, future conversations, but let's each hold space for that possibility. Like let's each hold space for that possibility that we could literally rewrite every single belief and condition it into us. I will say for me, I have eliminated rejection as to a 9.999999, because you can never know where you may have a blind spot that it could occur. Fear of failure, which we will talk about extensively next week, that comes up for me, right? That comes up for me. Rejection, I no longer allow. My rule on rejection is this: the only person that can reject me is me. And I don't want to completely eliminate rejection. I want to reject myself when I behave out of integrity, in a way that's material and matters, meaning like I haven't applied that to certain things. Like if I'm late, that's maybe a conversation for a different day, because I feel like I'm there in integrity in a larger conversation, which is to over deliver in every situation that I'm in. And if I haven't completed the delivery, then yes, then I give myself some permission to be late. Maybe that rule may be bad. I'm not sure yet. I'm still evaluating. I've been evaluating for 10 years, right? But that's my rule. And for that, I don't feel rejected. I'll feel empathy, right? I'll feel the need to deliver something to compensate for that dynamic and want to make sure I crush it in that next situation. But I've adopted that rule and I've modeled it after some person that I model a number of different things in my heart from, that happens to be very tall and very big. But it's still present for me as a possibility. But if I were to do something that I feel is dishonest, deceptive, I avoid something, I don't say something inside to somebody for a period of time because I don't want to hurt their feelings, I'm somehow being caretaking, I will allow myself to feel rejected, reject myself and say, not living consistent with your commitments and your boundaries, etc. But there's nobody externally that I'm going to give that power to, because it doesn't serve anything I'm trying to accomplish in the world. So Adam, how does that resonate for you? Adopting a belief there is no such thing as rejection, period. And when you're experiencing these things, you allow yourself to become curious. So maybe that's now, instead of rejection, it's curiosity. Hey, how could I have accelerated that process? What can I learn from this with no transactional cost of going into rejection and internalizing any negative emotion? Curiosity. Other things you may have more optimally, but curiosity could be one. Excitement for breakthrough next time could be another. How does that resonate for you?
It absolutely resonates. I do always think, I always go to that when I've mentioned failure, to that what could I have done differently? I do, part of the rejection is on myself as well, because I feel like I could have done something different, and what can I do next time? So I think I need to just focus more on that than that feeling of rejection.
I wouldn't focus on it. I'd change the rule. And by the way, we'll get to next week. You didn't fail either. We'll deal with fear of failure next week and how easily all of us set up our rules about failure versus success. We'll get there next week. And that's the theme for next week. And so fear of rejection, right, is just rewrite the rule. Just literally rewrite the rule in your journal. So love you, brother. And I know
I'll rewrite it.
Yeah. So I know Karen as well, and we'll talk more about the emphasis on next week. And for each of you, what is your new rule about rejection? It's your choice. The question is, how does your rule serve you? What is it costing you? Because for Adam, it's costing him energy, time, additional growth, acceleration. And if we explore it enough, there's unquestionably places of approach avoidance for him. There are for all of us, because if there's rejections out there, we're going to avoid it. So there are people and situations that he is going to subtly, subconsciously, or semi-consciously avoid approaching if he feels like he might expose himself to rejection.
Let me have a little fun. Let me have a little fun there, Sean, because you hit one more. We'll definitely, if you were prepared to move on, we will. But in that space of approaching the opposite sex in order to potentially have a conversation, to go out on a date or just give a phone call to, you just kind of nailed another one there. So thank you.
That's it. And this is simple models, man. This is science. So thank you for that. This isn't like mysticism. This is science. It's how our brain works, how our nervous system works. My heart goes out, and let's talk more about that, brother, because you are amazing. And I would, if my sister wasn't married, I would hope that my sister would be with a person exactly like yourself. And I couldn't think of more of a gentleman, more of a heart-centered human being. And I love you, brother. And my heart is heavy to even hear that, right? You are privileged to be with a wonderful woman, and any wonderful woman is privileged to be with you. That is a fact. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Karen G, what's up?
Hey, good morning. This has been really wonderful to listen to, Sean, and Adam, and I grabbed so many of the things you're saying and attach it to the world I'm living in now, in trying to promote proper and effective and deep, meaningful education for children. That's my.
No, love it. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your patience. It's been a week of intensity, a dynamic week of some issues emerging. So thank you for your patience. Thank you everybody for your patience for being on yet another long huddle for this week. But Karen, for those that are like, wait, who's Karen? Right? So Karen, what are you up to in the world? And give it and we're challenging you to encapsulate it quickly. Like, I'm up to in the world in like a long sentence. And then
Sure, I'll hit that. So I'm up to disrupting education. I've been up to disrupting education for a very, very long time. I am a strong believer that we need to move beyond the education that came from industrialism and agriculturalism and come to the new world of understanding children powerful, resourceful, competent, deserving of meaningful, engaging, mind-blowing experiences in their education, whether they're sitting in school or they are sitting in front of a computer, which we know most children are doing at this point in time.
No, awesome. And how about a fun fact about you?
Fun fact, I love to dance. I play music and I will move. It's just, can't help myself. Makes me smile, brings joy to my life.
And where are you from, Karen, just so people
I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I am sitting in Oceanport, New Jersey right now, looking at the Shrewsbury River.
That is awesome. And I think you have like a fairly well-known neighbor close to your home. Do you not?
Oh, yes. So my dear neighbor, Bruce Springsteen, who actually is now my former neighbor because I just moved this summer, but still.
Oh, Karen!
I know.
The word failure. You have failed me.
No. I have not failed you. I can certainly connect you, my friend.
I'm teasing, but not. So thank you.
And I'm teasing, but not.
Thank you. So, so what can we do? Like, what message do you want to carry to the world today? What do you want to share with people? These fine folks in Unblinded who are influencers, influencing influencers to merge ecosystems to make the world an even greater place. Yeah, like how can people do something to disrupt education and bring it to a place where actually the disruption that you're seeking? Let's do that really quickly first.
Yeah.
What is it? If you have it all your way and this vision comes to pass, what does that disruption look like?
It looks like it looks like educators and children. First of all, I believe that we are all learners and we are all teachers. Every one of us. We're all learners, we're all teachers. In the classroom, the person labeled teacher and the person labeled learner or student are learners and students together. And we need to create meaningful, challenging experiences so that we can help children to grow their minds, grow their ability to, certainly to grow their ability to read, to write, to articulate, to calculate, but more importantly, to think deeply, to question, to grow and change the world. I mean, we are world changers. That's what we do. We all are. We're going to do it for good or for bad. So I would like children to come into the world feeling empowered to do great things. And that is not coming from this space where we have children sitting and listening and regurgitating, and sitting and listening and regurgitating. Children have to be fully engaged with all their senses in education, hands-on, project-based, deep in collaboration, cooperation, all the sorts of things that Sean, you put forth through Unblinded for adults.
Well, thank you, Karen. And I appreciate that a ton. And I want to throw one fun scotoma into the conversation for those that might be hopping off shortly, or I'm sure some have had to go. I know we've gone long this morning, is not only to question, right? But this is something I would propose, but to question the questioners. So I went to Columbia University and it blew my mind. And it was absolutely amazing. And there were people who were asking me questions I had never even begun to think about, questions I had never even thought about constructs of society, about how things function. And what I didn't learn at Columbia University, but I now hold very dearly to my heart, is how to question the questioners. So those that so powerfully and wisely present a fundamental question, you know, when I reflect back, I look at some of these people who I respect so much, their intellect, but I also look at their lives, and a lot of them were in pain. A lot of them were living super dysfunctionally. Mm-hmm. A lot of them had drinking problems, had drug problems. A lot of them had problems around, not being in integrity for the relationships that they were in. And these are like present and known, but they were seen as so wise and amazing. And so the questions they asked were brilliant, but as long as we don't stop and ask, as long as we collectively don't stop at the question, we also look at the questioner and see how integrously they're living their life, yes, how functional their thought processes are. And that, I think, Karen, is what I believe what I know you're talking about, right? Is that there is this broad sense of truly arriving at an intentional life for humans beginning in childhood and adolescence. And I so honor that work. Is that
yes. And you give me the step into what the struggle is right now. So we have to take a really honest look at what's happening, right? We were a broken system of education prior to COVID. Now, following COVID, we have isolated children in their spaces, whether it be at a learning pod, whether it be in a classroom with the plexiglass around them, whether it be in their kitchen. We have isolated children, and we have disrupted for them their development to the extent, Sean, that I worry that we are producing young people who will become, will fall into juvenile delinquency, will fall into self-harm and frankly, suicide, will fall into a lack of capability to take responsibility for their lives and their decisions and their relationships, because they're not building relationships right now. They're not building relationships. They're not building relationships with themselves, their mind, body, and spirit. They're not building relationships with people around them.
No.
And I am so fearful. I believe that we are in a humanitarian crisis. I am so fearful of what the end result will be. You know, if you're 40 years old and you have dealt with a year of COVID and everything that has happened, that's hard. That's disrupting. That's uneasy. That's sad. That's a lot of things, right? I don't want to underplay what that is. But if you're five and you're dealing with COVID, that is breaking children. That's breaking children.
Yeah. So Karen, what I'd love to do is continue this conversation, another session next week, because I want to dig into a couple dynamics and get your thoughts. But I'd like to do two things before we wrap up for today. Number one, I'd like to ask you, what is your rule about you personally, Karen, feeling rejected? Like when is the last time you felt rejected? Not situational, just when is the last time you felt rejected in a professional setting? I'm not asking personal. If at all, doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I don't generally hold on to rejection.
Okay.
It will get in the way. It will get in the way. And so for me, rejection is something that I have desperately have learned, not desperately, have learned to set aside. Okay. Rejection for me can come on a personal level in my close relationships, right? Family, particularly.
And so just a quick thought. So Karen could also reframe that. Great job, Karen. That's why you're taking massive action. But it's like, I let go of it quickly. Like, what if rejection doesn't even exist? It's just holding space for that possibility. That what if nobody can reject us? Like no does not equal rejection. Like being laughed at doesn't equal rejection. Like none of it equals rejection. Let's all hold space for that possibility that we can create a rule for our own nervous system of what makes us feel happy, what makes us feel sad, what makes us feel angry. And certainly that we can eliminate rejection completely. And I offer that as a possibility that would be in great service of all of us as a possibility. So let's hold space for that. And second, Karen, what's a call to action though? So people want to know more of what you're up to, more of what this is about, where it's going. What would you like people to take action on, if anything, in the conversation we're having?
Yeah, so I would like people to reach out to me if this resonates with them, if they are concerned or want to be a part of this movement to disrupt education. I can be reached at my professional location, which is Voyagers Community School. So director at Voyagers Community School. You can also find me at Karen Giuffre, Giuffre, Mentoring for an Education Revolution. You can find me aside Peter Swain, creating some new and innovative products and ways to reach children. I love Peter and his power of making change. We all know about his ability to lead a team and save 30 children from sexual slavery. And I am blown away by that, but not surprised. So there's lots of places where you can find me. Mostly I'm in a school in Eatontown, New Jersey.
And Voyager School is on the path of doing exactly this, right?
Yes, absolutely.
A new format, new way. Karen, thank you for your patience. Thank you for what we're sharing. I'm interested for sure in what ecosystem merging might look like around the concept of bringing some of what we're talking about to children and how Unblinded could or could not participate. So I'm holding space for that conversation. And I look forward to having you back next week. We can explore more. Thank you so much, Karen, for being here. Please tell Bruce that I love him, say hello, and I still thank him for giving my son Tyler, whose 21st birthday was yesterday, the guitar pick after the Bruce on Broadway show. In an act of intentionality. I told once before, I'm going to tell again when you come back. It was one of the most emotional moments of my life and showed me everything about the depth of Bruce Springsteen's Level 5 listening. And it was absolutely incredible. It's an amazing story. So thank you, Karen. Thank you, everybody. Fernando, final brothers. We head into Long Beach Island, elite immersion. Get ready to go. What's present for you? I'm going to take it home.
Present for me is vulnerability, transformation. I love the conversation of children, future leadership, what Peter Swain has done. We are saving children. We are supporting in like the teaching of children. We are stepping into vulnerability. And this weekend is going to be full of fun and magic. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sean. And thank you, everyone on the Unblinded movement.
Yes. So the ocean is there. We are here. Tents are ready. There is the bay. We will see you in a little bit and get ready to roll. Have a beautiful, fun Friday, and let's hit it. Whatever you're planning on, Miles, with a little bit of Beach Boys music. Have a great